My childhood sweetheart has a strong desire. Every time we meet, it's like a thunderbolt striking the earth, and he seems to want to devour me alive. I posted a question online, asking if this was normal. Netizens jokingly replied, "Isn't this normal? You lucky girl. You're really having a good time." Later, my mother was eager to urge me to get married, after another passionate encounter. I took the opportunity to suggest taking him to meet my parents. Bian, however, smiled casually, sway sway. "I have a girlfriend. She's a lady from an aristocratic family. Her grandfather passed away, and she has to observe mourning for 3 years. I can't be intimate with her, so I turned to you." I felt as if I had fallen into an ice cellar and almost thought I had misheard. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. But Bian voice didn't stop. His voice carried a hint of laziness and hoarseness after satiation. "But why do you suddenly want to meet the parents? Didn't you say you'd never get married in this lifetime? That's why I chose you to fill this gap. We've known each other since we were kids, so we can make do for 3 years. Fortunately, my girlfriend's mourning period finally ends tomorrow. I've finally seen the light at the end of the tunnel. I won't need you to accompany me anymore." His tone was cheerful. Without the slightest bit of guilt towards me, my heart was cut like a knife. I clenched my hands tightly, my nails digging into my flesh, and the skin turned pale from the prick, but I didn't feel the pain. I looked at him like a lost soul and asked, "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me you had a girlfriend?" "Because there was no need, anyway. We're just casual lovers making do for 3 years," Bian said indifferently, then came to ruffle my hair and said understandingly, "Don't worry, Sway Sway. I know you hate mistresses the most in your life. I would never let you be one. Yes, I hate mistresses the most in my life. A mistress destroyed my family. When I was 10, the woman my father was having an affair with was discovered, and there was no peace at home ever since. My parents would argue hysterically every day, using the most vicious words to curse each other, treating each other like abhorrent enemies, wishing they could tear each other to pieces. Whenever I was scared and huddled in the corner, trembling and crying helplessly, it was Bian who appeared to save me. He knew my inner nuts better than anyone else. Since the first day we slept together, I reported it to my girlfriend, without her permission. How could I sleep with another woman casually? I'm very mindful of my male virtue. She knows about your existence. Bian held my cheeks, looking at me intently, his dark eyes filled with only me. Everyone says that a person with amorous eyes looks affectionate even when looking at a dog. That's why I was bewitched by his amorous eyes for a full 3 years. I once mistakenly thought he loved me deeply. After the truth came out, it all seemed like a disgraceful and ugly joke. "So, Sway Sway, you're really not a mistress," Bian coaxed me in a low voice. His eyes gradually became hot again. His fingers slid from my cheek to my bare shoulder, wandering ambiguously. "One last time, okay, Sway Sway." I suddenly pushed him away forcefully. I stumbled out of bed, hitting my forehead on the bedside table with a loud thud. "Sway Sway, are you okay?" Bian quickly got up and wanted to come and hug me. The place where I hit my forehead throbbed with pain. I felt extremely sad in my heart. Covering my forehead, I choked and said, "Don't come near me." Bian really didn't come closer. He sat there shirtless, with his lean and broad upper body exposed, looking at me with a somewhat puzzled and annoyed frown. I got up from the ground, put on my coat haphazardly, and left the room. I returned home in a daze. Pushing open the door, my mother sat on the sofa like a perfect wax figure, her beautiful face full of indifference. The look she gave me was also devoid of any warmth. "Didn't you say you'd bring your boyfriend to meet me? Where is he?" I fell silent. Recently, my mother had been pressing me hard to get married. Over the years, she and my father had been torturing each other relentlessly. The only thing that kept her going was the determination to prevent the company from falling into the hands of that outsider woman and her illegitimate children. Even though I had already established myself firmly in the company with my own abilities, she still wasn't at ease and wanted me to have a strategic marriage. I used to be glad that the person I liked was Bien Yen, because the Shin and Bien families were well matched, and there would be no obstacles to our marriage, until this morning. When I was pushed to the limit, I told her that I already had a boyfriend and would bring him to meet her in the evening. My mother didn't say much, just nodded coldly, and now I was back alone. The answer was obvious. I said calmly, "There's no boyfriend anymore." She wasn't surprised and didn't ask any more questions. Instead, she handed me a stack of documents. These are all young talents in the circle, their family backgrounds, characters, and appearances are all top-notch. Choose one who catches your eye. Today's events had exhausted me, and I really didn't have the energy to deal with my mother. I randomly picked out one piece of information and handed it to her. This one. My mother glanced down. "Okay, I'll make the arrangements." I was dispirited and dragged my heavy body upstairs. A few minutes later, Nanny Wang knocked on my door with a tube of ointment. "Miss, Madam asked me to apply the medicine for you. Madam also asked me to tell you that there's no hurdle in life that can't be overcome. Cry when you're sad, laugh when you're happy, and don't make things difficult for yourself. In this world, only money and power can truly sustain you, and love is just a fleeting cloud." I looked at my face in the mirror, haggard and pale, with a prominent bump on my forehead, red and swollen. I looked as ridiculous as a clown. The tears I had held back all night finally rolled down. "Cry. This is the last time. After crying, I'll let go of everything. The past is like yesterday, which has passed away. The present is like today, a new beginning." In the following days, I blocked Bien Yen and devoted myself wholeheartedly to work. It worked well, and I almost forgot about him until Bien Yan's girlfriend sent me a message asking to meet me. I didn't want to go at first, but somehow I felt a bit guilty. People really shouldn't do things with a guilty conscience, even though I was the victim in this relationship. And even though I got involved with Bien Yen without knowing he had a girlfriend for 3 years, I still felt a sense of guilt towards this woman I had never met. The meeting place was in an antique-style garden restaurant. Pushing open the door of the private room, there was a woman sitting inside, wearing a plain cheongsam. Her long, straight black hair was casually tied up with a jade hairpin. Her face was a bit pale, but her delicate beauty was still evident. She smiled at me, as serene and indifferent as a beautiful painting of a woman. "Miss Shin, I'm Cui Xian. Please have a seat." I sat down opposite her in silence. From childhood to adulthood, I had witnessed my mother dealing with mistresses many times. There were moments of restrained tension and also hysterical outbursts, but never had it been as calm as today. Cui Xian stood up, poured me a cup of tea, and gently pushed it in front of me, saying with a beaming smile, "This tea is really good. It leaves a fragrant aftertaste. Miss Shin, give it a try." I mechanically picked it up and took a few sips. Then I put down the cup and looked at Cui Xian, saying, "I'm sorry, Miss Cui. I didn't mean to get involved between you and Bien Yen. When I was with Bien Yen, I thought he was single. I didn't know he had a girlfriend." She smiled faintly. "It's okay. A Yen told me about it long ago. I don't mind." So it seemed that, as Bien Yen said, he had gotten Cui Xian's permission to be with me. But this was really disgusting and absurd. I felt like a monkey being played around by the two of them. You may not mind, but I do. If you had reminded me 3 years ago, I would have kicked him away immediately and never gotten entangled with Bien Yen for 3 years. What on earth was going through your mind to allow your boyfriend to be with another woman? Do you have some kind of cuckold fetish? Cui Xian looked at me indifferently. As noble as a lady in a traditional Chinese painting, our Cui family has been an aristocratic family since the Sui and Tang dynasties. It's normal for a young lady to have a few servant girls as part of her dowry. You're just fulfilling the function of a dowry servant girl. What's there to care about? A yin has strong desires. My grandfather passed away, and I had to observe mourning for 3 years. I couldn't bear to make him endure it, and you happen to be able to help him relieve his desires. Isn't it a win-win situation?" I stared at her in shock. I never thought that in the 21st century there would still be such remnants of feudal thinking. Cui Xian lowered her eyelashes and sipped her tea. Her voice was gentle and unhurried. "Shen Sui, I've heard a yin mention you. You two are childhood sweethearts, growing up together. Your family is broken, but the Bian family is warm and happy, so you like to visit the Bian family a lot, and Uncle and Aunt Bian also like you very much. You've had a crush on a yin since you were a child, and your biggest dream is to marry into the Bian family and become a part of it." I clenched my fists and interrupted her coldly. "Cut the crap. What exactly do you want to say?" She smiled, pinched her handkerchief, and coughed lightly. "Miss Shen, let's make a deal. I have a heart condition, and my health isn't very good. I hope you can continue to have a physical relationship with a yin to help him relieve his desires. In return, the Cui family will step in to undermine your father, deal with your father's illegitimate children, and hand over the Shen family's business to you. How about it?" I stood up abruptly and cursed. "Are you crazy?" With that, I turned around and left, but I hadn't taken 2 steps when my legs went weak, and I almost fell to the ground. Then, a tingling itch that gnawed at my heart surged from the depths of my body. It felt like my whole body was on fire. I quickly turned my head, looked at Cui Xian, and gritted my teeth, saying, "You actually drugged the tea?" Cui Xian still looked as calm as ever. "Don't worry, Miss Shen. I used a secret imperial recipe passed down in the Cui family. It won't harm your body. There's no need to worry too much." I was so angry that I almost exploded. I didn't want to entangle with this crazy woman in front of me any longer and tried to pull myself together to open the door, but the door was locked from the outside. No matter how hard I turned the handle, it wouldn't open. I tried my best to suppress the surging heat in my body. "Crazy woman, open the door." Cui Xian remained unmoved, assuming a haughty posture. "How dare you? There aren't many mistresses as magnanimous as me these days. Instead of being grateful, you speak rudely." I was speechless, my hands trembling. I took out my phone from my bag, wanting to call 110. Cui Xian was quick-witted and snatched my phone away. "Don't waste your efforts." She took my phone and calmly dialed a number. It was answered almost instantly. Immediately, a series of angry questions from Bian Yin came through the receiver. "Okay, Shen Sui, you still remember to call me. Weren't you so stubborn? Didn't you block all my contact information? So what exactly are you throwing a tantrum for? Didn't you enjoy it when we slept together? Wasn't I satisfying enough for you? Can't you stop being so petty? Can't we just part amicably? We can still be childhood sweethearts and friends even if we're not lovers. Why do you have to act so coy and make everyone unhappy?" The drug was starting to take effect. I dug my fingers into the ground desperately to suppress it. I didn't dare to open my mouth at all, afraid that as soon as I spoke, an ambiguous sound would escape. Bian Yin paused for a moment, and his voice softened a bit. "All this fuss of yours is just to force me to give in, isn't it? You want to monopolize me, want me to break up with Shanner, and be with you alone, right? But I'm telling you, Sui, I'm impossible to break up with Shanner. She's a very kind and gentle girl. If you met her, you'd think I'm really lucky." This sudden confession cracked the mask of calmness that Cui Xian had always maintained. Her eyes filled with tears, and her fair cheeks blushed, looking shy and touched. Sui, be good, okay? Stop making trouble, huh?" Bian Yin suddenly lowered his voice, using what he thought was his charming bubble voice, trying to seduce me. "As long as you're good, I promise you, I'll reserve my next life for you. If you don't believe me, I'll accompany you to the temple tomorrow, and we'll swear in front of the Buddha." I felt so disgusted that I almost vomited up my last night's dinner. People can't even empathize with their past selves. For example, at this moment, I really couldn't understand why I had liked this kind of man before. I was really subdued now, A hint of jealousy flashed in Shui Xian's eyes, and she couldn't help but say softly, Yen, it's me. Bianyan was taken aback, and his voice became gentle and doting. Xianer, you're being naughty again. Why are you holding Sui Sui's phone? Are you two together? Chui Xian glanced at me. At this time, I was in pain, curled up, my body covered in sweat, twisting like a twist. She withdrew her gaze and said in a coquettish voice, Mission is in some trouble. She's been drugged with aphrodisiac. Yen, can you help her? We're at Suiyuan. I remember your dinner appointment is also at Suiyuan today, right? Come over now. You should be able to get here in 5 minutes. We'll wait for you here. Bianyan became excited instantly, and his tone seemed hurt and pained. Xianer, since the day your mourning period ended, Sui and I have already ended. I really love you. You don't need to test me like this. Chui Xian laughed and said coquettishly, Okay, I know you love me. But I also know that you still care about Mission in your heart. It's okay, as long as you love me. I can overlook everything. Come quickly, Yen. Mission can hardly hold on anymore. After hanging up the phone, she threw my phone on the dining table. Then she slowly walked over and squatted down beside me, wiping the sweat off my face with a handkerchief. You're sweating a lot. It must be very uncomfortable, right? Women are duplicitous creatures. You say you want to break things off, but your body may think otherwise. I closed my eyes, trying to gather my strength. Now that the door couldn't be opened and my phone was snatched away, I could only secretly wait for an opportunity. Soon, the sound of footsteps came from the corridor. The door was opened, and Bianyan rushed in. Xianer, seeing me lying on the ground, my face flushed, curled up like a cooked shrimp. His eyes dimmed slightly. It was that familiar, overly aggressive look filled with desire. Chui Xian tilted her head and smiled charmingly at him. Yen, you're here. Bianyan looked touched. Xianer, to have a wife like you, what more could a man ask for? He quickly walked to her side, cupped her face with both hands, and leaned down to kiss her passionately. The two of them kissed ecstatically, oblivious to their surroundings. This was the moment. I suddenly leaped up from the ground, like a wild buffalo. I burst out with super strong impact and rushed out of the door. As I ran, I shouted frantically, Help, murder, fire, someone is abducting a woman, damn Suiyuan. It was as desolate as a haunted house. With all that commotion, not even a single waiter could be seen. I huffed and puffed as I ran in front. Bianyan leisurely chased after me, like teasing a caged little animal. His tone was frivolous and teasing. Sui, be careful when you run. If you really get hurt, I'll be... I was going crazy with discomfort. It was hot, so hot that I couldn't bear it, unconsciously. I tore open my collar, turning around the long corridor. I finally saw the gate of Suiyuan. Instantly, I felt the dawn of hope. With an inhuman willpower, I started to accelerate and sprinted forward like crazy, but I still couldn't escape. Just when I was only one step away from the gate, Bianyan caught up in big strides, clamped my shoulders with both hands, and pressed me hard against the wall. He leaned down close to me, his hot breath hitting my face ambiguously. Sui, have you had enough? You're such a tormenting little vixen. There's no antidote to the Chui family's secret imperial aphrodisiac. I'm the only man you have. If you don't let me help you, who else do you want to help you? The smell of male hormones permeated everywhere. I was forced to have red eyes. I kicked him hard, sending him into the artificial lake next to us. Fuck you. What the hell are you barking about? Go feed the fish, you bastard. Bianyan thrashed around in the lake. Shui, come back here. Damn it. You're my woman. No other wild man is allowed to touch you. I ignored him, quickly pulling open the gate. I stumbled out. There was a Koenigsegg convertible parked at the entrance, and the owner was about to start the car. I took a running start. Using the back jump technique in high jump, I landed in the car like a comet hitting the earth. The car owner was stunned. Is this how beautiful girls make their entrances these days? So unique. I looked up at him, gasping for breath from his arms. My eyes met his insanely handsome face. Instantly, a wicked thought came to my mind. The long, suppressed desire swept through my body, and my heart started pounding like it was about to jump out of my chest. I asked politely, "Hello, sir, can I kiss you?" With the last bit of remaining rationality, I waited for his answer. The man twitched the corner of his mouth and squinted his eyes. "Do you even know me and you want to kiss me?" I was honest. "Don't know, but I'll know you after the kiss." I couldn't hold back anymore. I climbed onto his shoulder like a water snake and touched his lips, exhaling like an orchid. His lips were very kissable, soft, cool, and comfortable. This kiss was like a timely rain, temporarily alleviating some of the raging fire burning in my body. The man's beautiful face seemed to be blushing as if it was about to catch fire. For a moment, it was hard to tell whether it was him or me who was drugged. I gently caressed his Adam's apple and collarbone. Planning to go further, in that crucial split second, I saw my reflection in the man's pitch-black pupils. My eyes were blood red, my face full of a flirtatious look, my forehead covered in fine beads of sweat, my clothes disheveled, my chest revealing a glimpse of skin, and my hair as messy as a ghost. Ugly. It was really ugly. That feeling was like you met your ex-boyfriend at the street corner when you were unkempt, without makeup, and wearing a big flowered Northeast-style jacket. It was so embarrassing. I felt like I was drenched with a basin of ice-cold water. I instantly calmed down and gritted my teeth, saying word by word, "Sir, please, take me to the hospital." To avoid continuing to harm innocent men, I picked up his phone and smashed it hard on my head. The moment the blood gushed out, I fainted. When I woke up again, I was lying in the hospital. The strange tingling heat in my body had completely subsided. It was like after a high fever, after the fever subsided. Only some soreness was left in my body. I wanted to prop myself up and get out of bed, but a sharp pain came from my head. I couldn't help but hiss. The man who was sleeping beside me, laying like a zombie, bounced up. Seeing that I woke up, he carefully helped me lie back down and tucked the quilt in for me, acting like a male nanny. "You're awake. Don't move around." It was the owner of the Koenigsegg. I took a closer look and was almost mesmerized. The man's facial features were so exquisitely beautiful that he seemed to have stepped out of a comic, even with his hair tousled like a bird's nest. It didn't affect his good looks. There was an unruly flamboyance between his eyebrows and eyes. His figure was also excellent, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist, and he seemed to be at least 188 meters tall. Probably because I stared at him for a while, he asked lazily, "Am I good looking?" I was honest. "Yes, you are," he laughed. Put his hands in his pockets and raised his eyebrows. "Do you really not know me?" I said. A flash of inspiration went through my mind, and I understood what he meant. "Yes, I do. You're the honorable owner of the Koenigsegg. And you're my savior." He looked at me, half angry and half amused. "You don't know me at all." He walked over to the side, picked up the kettle, and poured me a glass of water. My eyes were involuntarily attracted to his hands again. They were fair, slender, with well-defined joints, and the prominent veins on the back of his hands were clearly visible. I couldn't help but swallow. Damn it. Did the doctor not completely detoxify me? Why do I feel like I'm getting hot all over again? As the man handed me the water cup, he said, "The doctor said you have a mild concussion and need to be hospitalized for observation for 1 day. You can be discharged tomorrow." "Thank you, kind-hearted person. I have a name. It's Huangshan." "What? Emperor? Long live the emperor. 10,000 years, 10,000 years, 10,000 years." What an arrogant name. Huangshan looked at me with a gloomy expression and glanced at me. Yellow as in the color of sunset, and shine as in the law of entropy increase. After saying that, he stared at me intently, as if there was some expectation hidden in his eyes. I forced a couple of laughs. "It's really magnificent." A hint of disappointment flashed in his eyes. He stared at me, a bit annoyed. I didn't know what I did to make him angry. I blinked, trying to recall, and suddenly had an epiphany. "I'm sorry about before. I kissed you without your consent." His ears turned bright red in an instant. That blush spread from his ears to his neck and then to his face. Finally, his whole head was as red as a juicy tomato. My heart skipped a beat, and I said in surprise, "Could that be your first kiss?" The man didn't say anything. His eyes were pitch black and pure, like a puppy's eyes, looking at me expectantly, as if a bit sad. "I'm really sorry. Please don't be angry with me if you really can't get over it." I originally wanted to say that if he really couldn't get over it, I would let him kiss me back, but when my eyes met the man's watery eyes, I felt that this was too presumptuous, so I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. Just think of it as being bitten by a dog. He pursed his lips. The blush on his face faded instantly, and he looked at me expressionlessly. He seemed even angrier. He turned around and faced away from me, saying coldly, "Go to sleep. I'll stay with you." "It's better to have someone take care of you when you're in the hospital," I said cautiously. "If you have something to do, you can actually leave." He got so angry that he turned back around and said coolly, "Kicking me out, using me, and then turning your back on me. Is this how you treat your savior?" I obediently closed my eyes. I felt a bit relieved in my heart. Fortunately, he didn't ask me what exactly happened. Otherwise, how could I answer? The next day, after being discharged from the hospital, Huang Shang took me to my doorstep. I sincerely asked him to leave his bank card number, saying that I would transfer the money for his losses in the past 2 days to him. He looked indifferent. "No need. Consider it as doing a good deed every day." With that, he stepped on the gas pedal and drove away. After being missing for a night, my mother didn't react much. Bianyin called the house. "Did you two quarrel? Don't mention Bianyin in front of me from now on. I'm at odds with him." My mother wasn't interested in asking why and changed the topic. "I've arranged the blind date. Next week, old Master Huang will be having his 80th birthday. Everyone in the circle will be invited to the birthday party. You can meet then, soon." The day of the birthday banquet arrived. The Huang family's old mansion was also a Jiangnan-style garden, with pavilions, terraces, and towers scattered in a disorderly yet harmonious way. Every step presented a picturesque scene. It was much bigger than Suiyuan. My mother and I were wearing high-end custom-made gowns. Just as we walked into the banquet hall, we ran into my father, arm in arm with a charming and glamorous woman. She looked unfamiliar. He must have changed his new female companion again. My mother looked indifferent. "That old lecher is such an embarrassment." My father heard it with his sharp ears, and the two started arguing again. It was really the same old show that had been going on for over a decade. I took a deep breath, exhaled the pent-up anger in my chest, and turned around to slip away. As a result, I met Bianyin, holding Cui Xian's hand, walking towards me. What bad luck! I turned around to leave, but Bianyin quickly caught up and grabbed my arm. Sway, where are you running, little thing? Are you shy when you see me? I really envy you. Your skin is so thick that even a bullet would bounce off. Bianyin's face darkened. "Do you have to be so sarcastic?" "Don't worry, Xianer and I have already discussed it. Except for the marriage certificate, whatever she has, you won't be lacking either." I struggled desperately. "Get lost. Can you stop pestering me?" Cui Xian dropped the amiable pretense from that day, raised her chin, and looked arrogant. "Shen Sui, you've played the role of the chaste and martyr enough. Don't overdo it. Know your limits. According to the rules of our aristocratic families, you're just a lowly concubine, something that can be disposed of at the mistress's will. What are you pretending for here?" I was so angry that I was about to go crazy. Suddenly, I was pulled behind someone and shielded. Huang Sheng stared at that crazy couple, his voice cold and full of murderous intent. "Aristocratic family, very well. Did my ancestor Huang Chao miss your family when he killed the aristocratic families with the genealogy back then?" Cui Xian was left speechless, her face turned as colorful as a palette. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Finally, there was someone who could deal with this feudal-minded crazy woman. "Cui Xian, this person, talked about the aristocratic family and the mistress all the time, as if she had escaped from a mental hospital. Huang Chao had killed over 100 aristocratic families with the genealogy back then. He was the nemesis of people like Cui Xin who were obsessed with the aristocratic family. Bian Yin glared at Huang Shang. Huang Shang, what the hell do you mean? I'm talking to my childhood sweetheart. What does it have to do with you? I could tell back in school that you had ill intentions towards Shinsui. You still haven't given up, right? You're harassing her again. Do you think I'm dead? A huge question mark flashed through my mind. Back in school, why don't I remember seeing Huang Shang? Huang Shang's voice was indifferent. Even if I have ill intentions. So what? Sui isn't your possession. Bian Yin was furious. You were just a lackey following me back then. A dog daring to covet what belongs to me. Cui Xian tugged at Bian Yan's sleeve. Yen, watch your words. He's the crown prince of the Huang family after all. We can't afford to offend him. Bian Yan calmed down a bit. Huang Shang, I don't want to make things too ugly. Let go of Sui. I have something to talk to her about alone. I spat at him. I have nothing to talk to you about. Huang Shang's tone was lazy. Did you hear that? My fiancée said she has nothing to talk to you about. He seemed a bit pleased, but I widened my eyes. When did I become Huang Shang's fiancée? Why don't I know about it? But I wasn't stupid enough to expose him. Bian Yin was stunned for a moment, then laughed exaggeratedly. Your fiancé? Who are you kidding, if it's true? Prove it by kissing on the spot. Huang Shang looked back at me, his eyes lingering on my lips for a moment. I felt my heart start to race again, but he lowered his eyes and looked away, snorting. What are you? Why should I prove it to you? If you don't prove it, it's fake. Huang Shang, you've been a lovesick puppy for half your life. She doesn't even know you. How pitiful. Huang Shang's long eyelashes fluttered slightly, his face turned a bit pale, and he looked as if he was made of glass. With a sense of delicate brokenness, my heart suddenly ached. My body reacted before my mind did. I suddenly hooked my hands around his neck, pulled his head down, and kissed him hard. I murmured softly, I'm sorry, don't be angry. Anyway, we've kissed once before. One more time doesn't matter. Huang Shang's eyes suddenly became dark and intense. There seemed to be huge waves surging in his eyes, a violent storm forming a huge whirlpool. As if it would suck me in, he just stood there, unmoving. I felt a bit awkward and was about to give up, but then he took the initiative, holding the back of my head and approaching, pressing his lips against mine. He kissed me frantically, rubbing our lips together. His eyes were closed, and his Adam's apple rolled sexily as he led me to dance with him in this passionate embrace. I was like a lone boat, bobbing up and down in the sea of desire he created. Bian Yin flew into a rage instantly. He rushed over, ready to start a fight. Damn it, Huang Shang. How dare you touch my woman? Huang Shang pecked my lips and said hoarsely, be good, we'll kiss again later. My face flushed, and I rubbed my cheeks. Then I saw Huang Shang throw Bian Yin over his shoulder with a speed I couldn't even see clearly, sending him flying several meters away. Bian Yin let out an ouch and lay on the ground, unable to get up for a long time. Cui Xian was heartbroken and rushed over, shouting, Yen, are you okay? Bian Yin was furious and lay on the ground, shouting, do you know how she practiced her kissing skills? I taught her. She slept with me for 3 years. You know, Shinsui is just a worn-out shoe that I've discarded. You actually treat her like a treasure. Huang Shang's face turned terrifyingly gloomy. He clenched his fists and was about to rush up, but I was faster than him. I rushed to Bian Yin like a cannonball. I attacked him with both hands and feet, raining punches and kicks, scratching and clawing like using the Nining white bone claw. You damn scumbag. You lied to my feelings. You damn scumbag. Your mouth is full of crap. You should be recycled at the garbage dump. You damn scumbag. Why didn't God strike you with lightning? At this moment, in the cloudless sky, there was a sudden boom, a huge thunderclap. A bolt of lightning crackled down from the sky. It precisely hit Bian Yin. Bian Yin was instantly turned into a black figure, and his hair stood up like a hedgehog. There was also a faint smell of cooked meat in the air. Bianyan rolled his eyes and fainted. His life or death was unknown. The commotion we made in the yard quickly alerted the Huang family and my mother. The two families looked at me and Huangshan, holding hands, with beaming smiles. Look at these two kids. They're already holding hands. It seems the blind date was very satisfactory for both sides. I reacted instantly and looked at Huangshan. So the person my mom arranged for the blind date is you, he said irritably. Auntie told me that I was the one you personally selected from dozens of profiles. Didn't you know? Feeling guilty, I shrank my head and said in a small voice, I was in a bad mood that day and chose randomly without even looking at who it was. Suddenly, I remembered another thing. Is your family really descendants of Huang Chao? No wonder your name is so overbearing. Do you really believe that? You said it so seriously. The descendants of Huang Chao have already changed their surnames. I said oh and nodded. Then I remembered another thing again. What did that scumbag mean by those words? What ill intentions? His face turned red again, and he said a bit coyly, nothing. He's a scumbag who was struck by lightning. Can he tell the truth? I thought about it and found it quite reasonable, so I didn't ask any further. Later, Huangshan and I started dating naturally. The more I got to know him, the more I felt like I had found a treasure. He was cute, innocent, and easy to please. When I got busy with work, I would be completely absorbed, neglecting everything. He would accompany me to work overtime. He would sit quietly beside me with his laptop, neither making noise nor disturbing me when I looked up at him in the middle of my busy work. He would look back at me as if he had a telepathic connection. His eyes were clean, looking at you like Bambi, making it hard for anyone to resist, different from my previous relationship, which was deformed, twisted, and full of desires. This relationship was like a primary school student's game of house. It was pure and innocent, without any R-rated content. There was no physical entanglement, but from each other's eyes, we could feel the strong and boundless love we had for each other. Bianyan was struck by lightning and became paralyzed on one side of his body. The attending doctor, who was my friend, gave me the exclusive inside story. Not only is he paralyzed, but his private parts don't work either. He's completely turned into a eunuch. Great. Turning a womanizer into a eunuch should be more painful than killing him, right? As the saying goes, what goes around comes around. I heard that Cui Xian still stayed by his side, and the two got married quickly. I highly suspect that Cui Xian likes the impotent Bianyan. Otherwise, why would she go to such lengths to harm me? I didn't think about it for too long. Everything related to them had become a thing of the past. In the past 6 months, I, together with various directors, completely sidelined my father and kicked him out of the decision-making level. I took over the company completely. I immediately sent my father's several illegitimate children to Africa to develop the market, just as my mother said. Only money and power can truly sustain a person, and I found an album in Huangshan's study. There were many photos of me when I was a child. Only then did I finally remember that I had known him before. Bianyan was 1 grade higher than me. He was a well-known figure in school since he was a child, always followed by a large group of people. Huangshan was one of his little followers. He hadn't grown much at that time, looking like a thin and short bean sprout, always silent. The brokenness of my original family made me rely on Bianyan a lot. When I pestered Bianyan, he was always impatient after a while and would ask his little followers to accompany me. Memories came flooding back to me. I finally remembered, during those saddest days, it was actually Huangshan who accompanied me when my parents were arguing and I was crying sadly. He would quietly hand me tissues. When Bianyan ignored me, he would clumsily comfort me, but at that time, I only had Bianyan in my eyes and couldn't see anyone else. Unexpectedly, after all these twists and turns, my current lover was an old acquaintance. My tears fell one by one onto the album. Huangshan hugged my waist from behind and said softly, "You still found out." I turned around and threw myself into his arms, choking. "Why do you like me?" He looked at me tenderly. "Love is just love. There's no reason you liked Bianyan so much." I was so jealous, but for your happiness, I could only quietly step back. Later, I went to study in the United States, vowing to forget you, but as soon as I returned to China, my parents forced me to go on a blind date. You don't know how happy I was when I found out the blind date partner was you, but you didn't remember me." His voice was a bit desolate, and I quickly argued in a small voice, "It's not my fault. They say a girl changes a lot as she grows up, but you've changed even more. Look at yourself. Do you look anything like you did when you were a kid?" Huang Sheng bent down and kissed my lips, then asked with a smile in his eyes, "Sui Sui, are you satisfied with how I am now?" Then I grabbed his tie, pushed him onto the bed, straddled his waist, and tilted my head, smiling. "I have to try to know." Huang Sheng's eyes darkened. He suddenly pulled me down, and with a whirl, I was pinned under him. He stared at me, his eyes astonishingly bright. "Sui Sui, I love you." The end.